best in the universe. It's basically five and explains how Oryx rose to power and kind of leads up to the events of the Taken King. Now, I get that Taken King has already happened. Okay, this is a long... Taken King was quite a while ago. But we're not here to talk about the Taken King. Okay, we're gonna... Since the next DLC, Forsaken, will have something to do with the Taken, we're gonna discuss the origins of the Taken. Let's go ahead and do that now. Change a couple things here. Grab a drink, take a seat, as we read the Books of Sorrows together. First one of the Books of Sorrows is called Predators. Predators and Menaces, carved to endure by Zyro, third surviving sister of the Osmium King's last brood, a Stormjoy. A Stormjoy is a living cloud. When it passes over our continent, it lowers its feeding tentacles. On each tentacle are the bait stars. Although light you must avoid it. You will be eaten. So that verse, the first part of that verse, kind of explains, why the Hive hate the light, because they believe that the Hive eat them, which is why in the term, in the sense that all are thralls that by wizards were tortured by wizards who wield the light against the thrall. That's why the ogres want to devour the light. They want to, the light wanted to devour the Hive. So now they're turning pretty much. Okay. Stormjoy is a good way for an old person to choose death. Also, a daring cut the bait stars from the tentacles. I have 6. Falling. If you fall off the edge of the continent, you will die in the ocean. A special hazard when our father, the Osmium King, uses the engines. So the Osmium King is the ruler of what I will call the Proto-Hive. This is the Hive before they became the Hive. I will talk about helium drinkers. The currents of the Fundament Ocean bring us near other continents. The planet this takes on, or the location that these Proto-Hive live. It's basically a methane ocean, pretty much, I believe. They are of our species, but they are our enemies. They're every day. Helium drinkers have 2 legs, 2 arms, and 3 eyes, just like us. But they are bright, evil. Be a knight and fight them. So this is in the turn. This is Zyro talking, which we'll learn who she. The Helium Drinker Ambassador ate 10 of my sisters as tribute. This is normal. However, I resent it. Mothers. Mothers can fly. They live much. Mothers are extremely smart, and they guard their spawn. If you try to tamper with the eggs, they will eat. Sathona will eat the jelly and become a mother when she turns 4. Sathona is the second character, and she wants to become a mother. Zyro wants to become a knight. Storms. The rain is often poisonous. Sometimes it dissolves flesh. When lightning misses the lightning farm, it can vaporize a person. It is deadly to us. Mysteries. The Fundament is very large. We are the smallest things in it. If you don't understand something, it will probably kill you. My teacher Teox says this is why we have such short lives. So we can breed and adapt quickly. Moonwaves. Mr. Orash is afraid of moonwaves. When she gets back from her expedition to the tungsten monoliths, I will ask her why. Orash is the and final the 3 sisters. Teox, you're basically kind of like a stepmom to the three daughters. Verse 2, the hateful verse. For the consideration of the Helian court, written in desperation, the sealed secret. I am Teox, sterile mother, throne. As a mother, I live long. Neuter, I can rise above the small battles of court politics. I alone see the patterns of survival. Alone, I designed the great engines that move in court. Now, alone, I must act to save my kingdom. So Teox, she's devising a plan that will save her kingdom, supposedly. He has claimed my lord, Osmium King. He is 10 and mad. The study of ancient texts consumes him. Today he raves about moons above the storm. Today he will wander the halls, speaking to his familiar, a dead white worm in the deep sea. He keeps it in glass and tends to it. He neglects the duties of a king. So Teox sees the king as someone who isn't doing his duty. He's busy talking to his a white worm. Now, if you're familiar with the Destiny universe, you may begin to speculate what this means. But we'll talk about this later. The Osmium King has 3 surviving heirs, each 2 years old. Zyro, the youngest and bravest, who wants to be a knight. Sethona, the most clever, who wants to be a Orash, the navigator child, who dreams of the infinite ocean. Tomorrow she will return from the tungsten monolith. A monolith, that may ring a bell, to some of you veterans out there. None of these are suitable heirs. None of them will protect the Osmium court from the howling fundament. Zyro can fight, but not lead. Sethona can think, but not fight. Precious curiosity will draw her away from duty. I fear for all future children. Soon the Osmium King will lock himself into the royal orrery to study the moons. Gather your knights, O helium drinkers, and invade our continent. Kill the 3 heirs, and I will rule the Osmium court as a regent, and build engines for you. And if I fail, let the Leviathan in the deep eat me. Written in grief, his hateful request, Teox, the Osmium mother, nurtured to wish. So Teox has devised a plan. She has written a letter to the helium drinkers. A similar faction to these Proto-Hive. These are darker. They raid them constantly and they're losing a war. Teox believes that the only way people move on is to betray the king and rule the court for herself. Part 3, the Oath. Sisters, this is how an oath is done. Put your left hands on the mast, close to mine. Take the knife in your right hand, push it through your left hand, straight between the bones. Now, carve a bloodline down the mast. Speak your oath. I am the youngest daughter of the dead king. I will take back my Osmium court and I swear vengeance. In blood the oath is made. I am Sethona, middle daughter of the dead king. I will take back my home and eat the mother child. I will raise my spawn on the corpse of the Helium king. On my right eye, I promise this. In blood, the oath is made. Now, I will help you make your oath, sister. I will help it too. I am Orash, first daughter of the king. I will chase my father's last screamed warning. I will know what changed the motion of our moons. If the end of the world is coming, I will understand why. On my center eye, I swear, I will understand. In blood, the oath is made. sisters, we have only my ship left to us. But a ship is freedom. We have secrets to hunt, stormlit realms to explore, great armies to raise. Put up the lightning sails, and we will voyage far. The Osmium King, ruler of these Proto-Hive, is dead. 3 daughters, 3 heirs, 5, Sedona, Zyro, and Orash, have come together to swear an oath for Zyro's vengeance. Kill Teox, for Sedona is to become the mother, and for Orash is to understand his father's final warning before he died. To understand what shifted the moons. The fundament. Verse 1. Part 4. The Syzygy. The Syzygy. Carved to endure by Orash. The High Vengeance. Only Zyro's let us escape. Only Sedona's tricks let us reach the coast. But now that we have my ship, I must lead the way. Orash, the navigator. We may never see our homes again. Zyro seethes with hate for Teox. But this is my deepest fear. Our civilization drifts on the fundament. At the tungsten monoliths, I learned that thousands of other species drift with us, coexisting. And the tides at the fundament move us. Truth says that we are the smallest, most fragile things alive. The natural prey of the universe. Teox would have us believe that our ancestors came to the fundament to hide from the hungry void. My father died afraid, not of vile the helium drinkers, but of his orrery. He screamed, "The moons are different." He made the sign of the Syzygy. Imagine the 52 moons of fundament lining up in the sky. Wouldn't take all 52, of course, just a few massive moons. But this is my deepest fear. Imagine their gravity pulling on the fundament sea, lifting it into a swollen bulge. Imagine that bulge past a wave big enough to swallow civilizations. A god wave. I have to before the god wave annihilates my species. If I could only get back into my father's story, I could learn exactly when. We are weeks of travel and many continents away from home. When I'm paralyzed by fear, with me and comforts me with soft, brave words. But more and more we have to rely to be alone. She insists she must be alone, and return with some mad idea. Steer into the storm, throw down a net. Strange beast explored that menacing wreck. Somehow, Sedona seems to manufacture good luck by sheer will. Part 5. Needle and Worm. My secrets, carved in my code by Sedona, the right eye vengeance. This year, voyaging these lightning nights and golden days, these forays into ancient wrecks and wind-blown flights from monsters, these are the happiest times of my life. I want to be a mother, not because I want to spawn, but because I want a long life. Long enough to make a difference. We've been at sea a year, I'm afraid. Afraid we will die out here. I know where to find secrets. I know where slow things with long memory, slow things with long memories that live. The Needle Ship. The Needle Ship. Carved in my code by Sedona, the liar. We salvaged the needle from the Shubi maelstrom. I knew it would be there. The needle is the gray ship, as long and slender as hope, as unbreakable as time. deadlier than death. It tumbled through the maelstrom before our ancestors crashed into the fundament. This is not a sea ship like Orash's. It is an artifact of high technology. I know its purpose. I know what Zyro wants to sell the ship at Kahar Atoll, where species gather. At auction, would earn us enough wealth to hire us. We could retake our osmium court and send the baby-eating helium drinkers screaming into the ocean. But I told Zyro the ship was worthless. Orash wants to open the ship and see if we can take control. I know this is the right thing to do. I know. Because I'm a worm. Carved in my code by Sathona. Who should be afraid? It was my father's familiar. I ripped it from him as we fled. It is a dead white thing, segmented, washed up from the Dead Sea. It's dead. But it still speaks to me. It says, "Listen closely, O vengeance mine." So the sisters, the three surviving heirs of the Osmium King, the last of the Osmium, to the Osmium Court, have found a ship that is worthless, and Orash seeks to take control of the ship, to learn its secrets, because Orash wants to understand. It seems that as her father's familiar, the white worm, and even though it is dead, it still speaks to her. Notice how it says, how the worm says, "O vengeance mine." In terms of the grasps of I don't think I have my character, actually. A lot of what it says, the end of, such as the grasps of Ahamkara, Ahamkara's spine, sealed Ahamkara grasps. A lot of it at the end say, "O bearer mine." So, I think that the worm has something to do with the Ahamkara, or it is closely related to him. Whether that means the Ahamkara are the worms? I will be doing a lore video and some research on who the Ahamkara truly are. This video will not be an hour-long video. It's going to be in parts. Verse 1. My bad. And let me just check where we were. Excuse me, everyone. Verse 1, Part 6. Sisters. A register of tokens and gestures exchanged before the end of sisterhood. Zyro, my braves, worked too hard to move the carcasses out of the birthing room. Come, steer the ship for a while. What our needle can do. Zyro tried to protest, but secretly, she was so glad for Orash's care. She flew the needle ship in cutting circles, down beneath the sea, in their wake, just dying breath. So it seems that they have taken control of the ship that they found. Orash, lonely navigator, we have traveled so long with only each other to hear and speak new tongues. Come, sit in the flesh garden room. I will read you these stories I bought at Kahar. Orash sat among the mummified flesh, bands with two of her eyes closed, and listened in silence to Sathona's stories, hungry to understand, voracious to know she could before her 10-year life died. Later, Zyro said, cutting hours, grow lonely in your thought. Play swords and lanterns with me. Trying to cheer each other up because, in terms of I'm going to relate back to what do in reality. Kind of lose your mind if it's just three of you doing the same thing over and over and over, not sure where you're going. Heavy with sorrow, and couldn't pretend any joy as she chased Zyro through the needle's glistening halls. Sethona. What is it? What troubles you? Her sisters listened as Sethona said, Oath bearer, we are 5 years old. For 2 years we've worked to repair this ancient ship and understand its systems. I am almost too old for the mother jelly. The knights who killed our father are surely dying of age. We three will die here in exile. Teox will and Orash, brilliant-eyed Orash, you will die of old age long before you have proof, wave, or any way to stop it. Orash and Zyro looked at each other. I wish you weren't so honest, Zyro said. And Orash, in her soul, Orash knew that the only way to keep their oath was to find a powerful secret. A secret that could change everything. This was Orash. Fire and her desire to cut through the flank of the world and find its beating heart. We have to dive, Orash said. That's what the ship is built to do. Dive into the fundament, the world below us, towards the core. That's why died so obscenely, Zyro protested. That's where the atrocity in the birthing room was born. We have to dive. We have to dive. Following the whispers, Sethona said, we must dive. In the world beneath us, in metallic depths, I hope we may find what we need most. More time. Life. So, heirs are no only revenge, they're seeking more time, more life, more time, possibly to carry out what they swore to do. Got for Zyro's vengeance for stones to become a mother. And for Orash and
with that blasted rock-shaking, concentration-shattering machinery.
Verse 1, Part 7. The Dive. For life, Sethona dove. For vengeance, dove. And Orash dove to understand. The needle ship pierced the skin of the world through foam and metal and cold elemental slush. Orash devoured the ship's maps of fundament. From the high angelic cloud decks, down and down, through storms and oceans and plates of floating world, into the crush of the core. Met monsters of continental scope, vast anemones that raised glowing tentacles to bait them in. The needle ship through them, and they bled black carbon jelly frost. They came to a still place, beneath of metal. I'll use the sensors, whispered Orash. Listen. In the wet gold dark of the helm, they listened to the ship, and the ship to the crushing motions of fundament of continents. Patter and the helium neon rain heard the struggles of monsters, and they heard the distant groan of the ocean rising, tugged by constant and distant moons. The syzygy is real, Sedona hissed. It's begun. Behind them, Zyro thought of the birthing room, where ancient explorers had labored over surge generations, peeling back the chrysalis and the caul of what which they had made the deep. None of them would survive. There's something down here, she whispered. Something secret. And the Leviathan loomed over them, its brow as all the continents of their childhood. Its great life into the hull of the needle ship in a microwave voice. You must turn back. Save yourselves from the deep. Save the world from yourselves. You must turn back. So the daughters dove for vengeance. Sedona she dove for life, and for Orash, she dove to understand. They came across worlds till they reached under a metal plate. In this core, they met the Leviathan. Not the Leviathan that Callus was exiled to, but a being, a great being. Leviathan. The Leviathan's warning. This will be the last verse we read in this episode. The Leviathan's warning says, we live on the edge of a war between formless and form, between the deep and the sky. My eyes are wide, my gaze is long. Across the universe I see, the sky works to charge its fires, and the deep drowns the ash. Sky builds gentle places, life, beloved fundament, refuge of trillions. The sky treasures this rich place. Cold logic tests our walls. The deep claim opinion, a ruthless final age. Orash's protest. Old creature of myth, the world is no refuge. We live short, hard lives. We die in the dark. The storm above us will never end, and soon the God wave will take us all. Above us there are only storm joys, monsters, and moons of apocalypse. Let us go down, down, where we may discover truth, some power to avenge ourselves, betrayers, some hope of survival. The Leviathan's hope. What power calls you down to the deep? What instinct draws you away from high hope? Quick breeding, cruel people, I tell you. For eons, I have watched you struggle, clinging to the sharp edge of survival, balanced between the deep and the sky. This is the deep flame. Zyro's protest. Oh, before that, my bad. Flame. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up. My bad. Is the struggle to exist. When the struggle seems lost, when the safe place crumbles, everything turns to the deep to survive. Reject the deep claim. You will turn back, sweet crow of hope. You will choose the sky instead. The Leviathan is a creature of the sky, which I believe the sky created the Traveler. I'm not talking about the sky that I'm looking at as a guardian, but which gives deep, especially in the Warmind expansion, is something that Zoll, the Will of the Thousands, talks about, saying, "You shall drown in the deep, light in the deep." Zyro's protest. "You are huge and old, are lithe and desperate. If that's the way the world's supposed to be, I won't have it. If people like Teox are in, I won't let them. I'll beat the world until it changes. I'll kill anything in the way." The Leviathan's dirge. This fatal logic. Here, scream. It will consume you. Before you lies the worship of death. Path. I builds new life against the onset of ruin. The deep embraces death, saying, "This is inevitable and right. I exist as hungry ruin. Turn back from the world-killing way, or you will live as death and devastation." The sky is the harder way, but it is. My charge is balanced, my voice exhausted. The Leviathan is telling three heirs, the daughters of the Osmium King, to turn back, to return to go to the sky instead of living in balance as they did before. Sathona's protest. "Sisters, I have my father's familiar. Look, it answers me. It helps the ship. It gives me strength when hope is lost. Who will you trust? The voice that wants us to live and suffer as we have lived and suffered? The Leviathan that offers no hope against Teox or the World Wave? Or the honest worm? Let us see where its whispers lead us, Oresh. Let us go deeper, Zyro. Let us dive, O sisters mine." So it seems that Sathona has to convince the sisters to dive, to completely ignore the Leviathan's warning, and dive for what they all see. Once again, for Zyro, it's vengeance. For Sathona, it's life. For all, understand. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There will be more parts. I will be going over every part of the Book of Sorrows. Every verse, everything. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below. If you have some theories to share, some videos of Destiny lore you would want to talk about, I'd love to hear your opinions or your thoughts. And thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Farewell for now.